What's going on, guys? Welcome to October's episode of Plus Club, the show where we play the games offered to us on PlayStation Plus throughout the month, and at the end of the month, we talk about it. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And we are moving into a new month, but as of right now, they have not announced what the next PlayStation Plus games are. But there was a leak earlier this month that said it was supposed to be Boltstorm and Yakuza Kiwami, so we'll see if that's true. If that is true, what do you think about that?
I mean, I'm curious about Bulletstorm, but not necessarily excited just because it's a game I didn't end up playing. And then Yakuza always sounded like a game that I would get into. And then after listening to like Josh talk about them, especially with like all the side stuff, I feel like I would like them. So I'm looking forward to actually getting to try that if it is in fact coming out. So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to try that one. I played a little bit of Yakuza 6, and it was pretty cool. I'd like to play more, but it wasn't like high priority for me.
Right.
Boltstorm I did play back in the day. Wasn't a big fan of it. Kind of liked the idea, but the game is basically all about racking up points while shooting stuff, and that doesn't do it for me. So,
Gotcha.
But it definitely, if these are in fact true, we'll look forward to trying both of them. Also, another quick reminder that we are at the end of the month with Game of the Month, so make sure to play Secret World Legends. We'll be talking about that either tomorrow or Friday, and then we will be picking a new Game of the Month for November.
Yep.
November. That's the one. Chris also couldn't make it. He might be sleeping. I don't know.
It was pretty late.
Yeah, it's pretty late. Yeah, we got to filming a little too late, so apologies to that. And we will ask Chris briefly on Tastecast his opinions on these things, so you guys will still get that. We're on Discord, link down below. Talk to the same time all the time. And we are on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. If you prefer to listen to us, and if you are listening to us, you want to watch us on YouTube, check us out on Tasty Loot Gaming. Yeah, so Plus Club, we played this month Friday the 13th, the game, and Laser League. I think it's probably best we start off with Laser League, because I think there'll be a little less to talk about there than the other one. So, yeah, you want to start?
Sure.
All right.
I mean, like how to start this.
Well, actually, before we do that, in case you didn't play it, Laser League is a top-down, like competitive, like sports game, arena game.
Yeah.
It's not quite a brawler, although there is some stuff you can do to hit people. It's more so about taking certain points and making them your color versus the other team's colors. And once the other team touches those things, they will die, and you're trying to eliminate them. It's kind of hard to explain. And these things on different maps will move in different patterns and stuff. So the whole time you're just running around trying to collect these things. And you'll see up in the video above what it looks like. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist. It's kind of one of those little games you play, kind of like Rocket League or that one disc game that we played a while back.
Disc Jam?
Yeah, I guess is that what it's called?
I don't remember, to be honest.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what the game is. So yeah, impressions.
So after when we originally were gonna play this game, I had no idea what it was, and you had briefly kind of said that it was in the same vein as that disc game. So I kind of already had like set myself up for what I was getting into with that, but I sat down and then I was went through the training mode and wasn't surprised, I guess is the best way to put it. It is literally what it sounds like, which is like don't get hit by the other person's colors while trying to make them hit yours. Now this isn't, I'm not trying to say this in like a negative way at all. In fact, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I think the game definitely has a place, and I think there is definitely a huge group of people who would be into this. I know a couple people, like personally, that I think would enjoy this game.
Yep.
I personally struggle with it because it is literally the epitome of like a competitive game. So it's really difficult for me. Plus, I think the premise is a little simple.
Yeah.
For me.
I think there's something kind of cool about how its simplicity, though, because I mean, like I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2 right now, and it's the opposite. Completely the opposite.
Well, for sure.
So it's kind of nice to just play like an actual video game. They're all actually video games, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's a game.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
for
trying
sure.
to be something beyond that.
Right, and I do want to emphasize, I don't like think I actually don't think I have a single negative opinion of the game.
Yeah.
But I also don't have an exciting opinion about the game. This is really just kind of right smack dab in the middle the whole time. Like the whole time I was playing it, it controls well. It does what it's supposed to do. I do appreciate that it has a revive mechanic. So if your teammate goes down, you do have an opportunity to stay in the game. You'll kind of clutch win it. It's got neat little power ups and stuff like that, like stealing their colors or reversing the flow of the beams and stuff like that. Also, the walking through the edge of the map kind of adds an element of having to be on your game while you're playing.
That's like next level stuff though, because you can do it, but I feel like people who are gonna be like really good at that will be utilizing that a lot. And once they do, and people who aren't using that are gonna get fucking destroyed.
Yeah, as the bots will kind of show you because they don't have to think.
In fact, when you were saying that you don't have any complaints about the game, I pretty much don't either, except for if you want to play against bots, you need to be playing against like easy to medium area. And I guess that it's fair because they're saying medium hard, but like I was playing even on medium, and because the AI does not have to visually look at the screen like I am and process what's happening and decide to move sticks and all that stuff like that, it's just on an algorithm going here. Like you can watch it. Like if someone goes down, they go to grab it. If they can't, they just go and do something else, and then fucking they'll go like off the screen and teleport all over the place constantly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, most people aren't playing like that unless they're like really seasoned. Maybe I haven't seen any. So, but again, that game is not. It's cool. It has bot support in general, so it's fine.
Oh, for sure.
But it's definitely meant for like online play.
Well, especially because it's kind of a dead thing in most games. So it is appreciated that they even took the initiative to put bots in there. And if the game does well enough for them in a financial sense, I'd like for them to obviously expand the game and perhaps even tweak that a little bit, though I'm sure it's probably low priority. The game is definitely designed for you to play against people.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I don't know how much more I can say about this game.
It's pretty basic.
It is a very basic game.
I'll jump into my impressions then. I think overall, kind of like what you were saying, pretty much I'm going to say a lot of things you said, but overall, I think it is a fine game. I think for the people who are going to like it, they're going to love it. For people who are not particularly into this, I think they can probably appreciate it or just go, I'm not into that, or like, fuck that game. But it's definitely meant for a specific type of like, I don't know. It almost seems like it'd be like a good like esports game, except for it's not going to get. I can't see this game getting that big, but like Rocket League did. So who can tell? But because that's also a fucking simple premised game, but people play that game like fucking gods essentially. People flying around and shit in that game. It's stupid. But apparently Cody's really good too. I need to see him play it. But yeah, it's so I played it. I played against bots. And I think I did a couple of matches against people, but it was fine. Did exactly like what you said it's supposed to do. You capture the points, they create your color, you dodge them. And the first time I played it, I was like, yeah, I get it. I was kind of done with it, and then I played it a second time to get footage for this episode, and I found myself enjoying it a little bit more. Which was kind of interesting because I went into it knowing what I was getting into, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get the footage. And then I found myself having matches that were lasting really fucking long, and that's where I started having more fun with it. It started getting really stressful. Like their team, they'd lose somebody, I'd lose somebody, and we're both just like trying to hit each other while dodging all the shit and trying to get our guys back up. And it became like really hectic, which I kind of liked. So yeah, I mean, like as like a toy, I guess, like something that you're just gonna hop in and play for a second. I think it's fun. It'd be a really good like mobile game because it'd be a really easy game to hop in, pass the time with. As for like a game, on my console, especially with all the games I already have, it's not something I necessarily am going to be thinking about, but I could definitely recommend. I think it is. I came with a positive experience, even though the game's not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Like I could like if someone's saying I'm really into like games like Rocket League and stuff, I would probably name this pretty early on the list.
Probably, yeah.
Because I feel like there are a lot of people that I know personally who'd be into this game, let alone like a specific grouping of people who'd be into this kind of game. And for a free game, I mean, like it wasn't bad, so it's a good thing. It has some customization in it. It has a lot of maps. So that's kind of cool. I was actually really surprised by that because I think there's like 4 or 5 or 6 brackets with like 4 maps a piece in it. So quite a bit. 4 classes, one that you can like snipe people, one that you can like hit somebody, knock them down, another one where you can steal people's walls or their color. So if they activate one, you can run over and take it back, which makes things really interesting. I think there's one that negates the damage too, wasn't there? I think there's one you can run through that shit.
I don't remember any of that. I only played like 2 or 3 matches.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, it's well made. Just a little too simple for me, and gameplay I'm not super into. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get into recommendations. I think we kind of covered that already.
We did, but I mean, I guess for a highlight there, if you're into competitive games in the same vein as like Windjammers or Disc Jam or whatever that game's called, and Rocket League and stuff like that.
Throw the discs and they fucking go.
Right. Essentially, just like very like cut and dry. Like you're trying to beat the other person at this sports like
Yeah,
setting.
if you like competitive team based competitive games.
When it's more to the point though than like a Madden would be, because a Madden's going to be a long drawn out game. As for a game like this, you can get matches in. So it's more like a Call of Duty style, like just real quick competitive game. Obviously without the shooting aspect, but I feel like that's a pretty decent way to put it, because it just wants to get you in and out of those matches. So, other than that, I mean, I think it's kind of a game you have to try and see if it sticks on you or not, because there's not a lot of these out there, so it's hard to like specifically recommend it to people.
Yeah, it's every time we see one of these types of games pop up, I'm just like, okay, these are some people trying to get into that market, and I get that, but like, there's actually not a lot of them out there still. So I'm still waiting for one to come out and rival Rocket League, essentially.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, it is kind of hard to pinpoint the exact like terminology for this. Let us know in the comments if you have some better way of saying that. I think I would recommend this game to almost everyone to try. I would be skeptical to think that they are going to love it, but I think it's a game that I think most people, especially if you're like sitting around on the couch with friends or whatever, if you hopped in and played it, it'd be fun. Just kind of run around, because the premise is so simple that like someone who just sat down and grabbed a controller is going to be able to fucking play it like almost instantly. It's not a hard concept. It's just all about reaction,
Easy
and
to
timing.
play, hard to master type game. Yeah.
So yeah, I think most people could play it, but like I said, a very specific type of person is going to want to play this. It's very much people who play Rocket League are going to like this game. If you're into like deeper games, non-competitive games, if you like single player experiences, you're probably not going to be into this game. I don't think it's for you at all, but definitely look at it, check it out. It was free, so if you downloaded it, I would definitely say check it out. But yeah. Let's get into grades. This was very quick and easy for this. I'm going to give it a C. I feel like I have to give it a C. I think it's I just kind of defaulting out. I feel like I give it a C minus. I'm almost insulting it, because there is nothing wrong with it. If I give it a C plus, I think I'm saying too much about it. So it's really weird. Like, I just got to go flat C. The game's fine. It works. It's competent. That's what C's for. C's for competent. Does exactly what it's supposed to do. And it's fun to a certain extent. If you're into it, you're going to like it.
Yeah, this whole time I was thinking the same thing. It's a C game for sure. It's right in the middle. It's it's not amazing, but it's not bad. It's a passing game.
Yeah.
I know there's a subsection of people, of gamers out there who this is going to be like, this is an A experience for you, and that's amazing.
If you're into this, your grade would be higher for sure.
Yeah, but for me, because this is a game I'm never going to play again, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to knock it for that, because that's not the game's fault. That's just not, I'm not interested.
Yeah, that's my thing too. Is like, I don't mean anything negative about the game at all. It's not a bad game in any way. Yeah. I think it's a good game. I won't play it as well. It's not my type of game.
So yeah, I think C is as far as I could go, because if I said C plus, I'd almost feel like I was kind of getting into the territory of like, I should have more positive things to say about it.
Exactly. So. Yeah. It's so just like, it's okay. Like I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
That like I can't go beyond C just because I don't feel anything beyond C. You know, the game looks fine. The visual style is fine. It's nothing new or crazy or awesome, but it's fine. It works. It's colorful. It's cool looking. The music's fine. The gameplay's fine. Like everything's fine.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's hard to give it anything higher and definitely anything lower because, like I said, reiterating one more time, it's not even remotely bad. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. Yeah. Anything else you want to say on Laser League?
Nada.
It's got a double C. We'll see what Chris says about it on Tastecast. Although BlizzCon's coming up soon, so we got to talk about that on Tastecast as well. Get some hate. Get some of those dislikes.
I'm gonna step that episode out. Bye.
Yeah, I'm out. You just do it alone, Seth. The one guy who plays fucking no WoW. Let us know in the comments. What do you think about Laser League? Did you play it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Were you right in the middle like us? Is it a game that looks interesting to you? Would you want to play it? Are you looking at it and you're going, yeah, that's definitely not for fucking me. I don't play C games. I play AAA games, dog. Let us know everything you're thinking about when it comes to Laser League. Second game we played this month was Friday the 13th, the video game, which I hate that title.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's very straight to the point. It makes sense. Just like Laser League. That title's a C. It works. It's just too much.
That shit don't roll off the tongue very good, though.
It's too much. Yeah, it's just been fucking Jason the game. That's even bad.
Or Yes Mom.
Yeah, Yes Mom would work. I love that. Just Yes Mom with a fucking rainbow and it's just Jason on the front. If you didn't have a chance to play this, it is a 7v1 horror-themed online game where you and 6 other people run around as camp counselors around Camp Crystal Lake, essentially trying to escape or get help while somebody plays Jason Voorhees and goes around murdering you. You have 20 minutes to figure that out before he fucking leaves. So as Jason, you need to kill everybody before 20 minutes is up. Otherwise, you go home. Mom is like, hey, come home. You're like, fuck. And everybody wins. Or you kill everybody and they all lose. You can also escape by repairing boats, cars, and you can drive away. Unless Jason walks up and fucking smash the shit out of your car.
Or flips your boat.
Or flips your boat. Like the guy we're just fucking spectating. He
jamming.
Yeah, fucking Jason popped up, grabbed the boat. The guy just stood up and went into the water. I was like, that's not how that works. I've seen this a million times. How the fuck do you do that? And they just in the water, and Jason didn't do anything to him. But and then yeah, you can like call the cops, and that will shorten the timer to 5 minutes. So there's a couple different ways to win the game. So yeah, we both played it. You played it pretty briefly towards the end of the month, but we still did play it.
Yeah.
I played it a shitload in the very beginning of the month because I was preparing for all the games coming out this month, so I wanted to get that knocked out. And yeah, so we'll jump into impressions. I'll go first since you went first last time, right?
Yes.
Okay, so when I first played this game, a couple things popped up in my head. I was like, this game is fucking ridiculous looking. The animations are really fucking shitty. Everything looks funny. The characters' faces like look like this, or when they're scared, they just go, ah! And there's just all these things about it that I was like, this is not a good game. It's running around and like the controls aren't particularly that great. If you don't know what you're doing, Jason shows up, you get fucking murdered pretty quick. And I was like, this game's kind of a joke. This is crazy. And then you just run into a lot of people who are just talking and saying a bunch of random shit. Upon playing it further, I noticed that all that is still true, but there is actually some really cool ideas in this game, and I found myself really enjoying playing it. Especially in the sense that when you start playing with people who are actually working together and communicating, you start accomplishing things, and you're it feels less janky in that aspect. Like once you start working with other people and they're grabbing different components of a car to rebuild it while you're all like hoping you don't get killed by Jason, there's a tension to it that's really cool. I was actually lucky to play with get in a couple groups with some really good people. Psycho from the Discord played with me quite a bit. A couple other people friended me in the game, and we all played together multiple times, and we were actually winning like constantly, just because we all kind of knew what we had to do, and we get in there and do it. Playing as Jason's fun as well. It's really satisfying. Kind of like in Dead by Daylight, fucking you get kind of like a god complex, and he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill all of you. Most of this game though consists of counselors jumping through windows and locking doors on you though, and then you're just like chasing after them and waiting for them to run out of stamina. But it's really satisfying once you get a hold of them and take them out, and now you only have 6 left, 5 left, 4 left, 3 left. Gets really tense towards the end. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would still probably play it after this month. I really like it, although it is worth mentioning that there was a lawsuit from the guy, I think, who originally wrote the original story of Friday the 13th, or at least the script, something like that. He sued not only the game, but everybody, the whole fucking thing. And he won, and now nobody can do anything with that franchise unless he says so. So the guys who make this game cannot work on it. They can maintain it, they can't add stuff to it. So the game is locked as of right now. They had all these ideas they wanted to do with it, they can't. It's really fucked up.
But didn't they have the rights to it though?
They had the rights to it, but after that lawsuit, it changed everything.
That's why I'm confused. Like, why would he sell the rights to the game and then?
I don't know if he sold it. I think somebody who had it before probably sold it, and then he sued everybody else. It wasn't him against the game; it was him against the property.
Right.
He was trying to get control of it, and then he did, and then he essentially has the say of what can happen with it.
Well, it's unfortunate for the developers.
Yeah, because they were super stoked about it. They got the game made, and it came out, and now they can't add DLCs and shit. There's only 2 costume packs. They're $2 a piece. They're neat, but they probably would have had more by now. They wanted to add more maps, more Jason types, more counselors, all that kind of shit.
I guess they better.
All they can do now is maintain the servers and do fixes and balances. But how far can you do that if the game's not getting, things aren't being added to it?
Right. Yeah, it sucks. Hopefully they can get the okay to work on it, or at the very least, like, make another game in the same vein, and hopefully get people to come try that instead. Well,
I was reading a thing saying that they keep trying to talk to him, but he's not interested in talking to them at all about that game. And in the article I was reading was saying that they could countersue to try and get control of it. But I'm like, how long is that going to fucking take? It's a clusterfuck.
And do they have enough money to maintain a long legal battle and shit? You know what
little indie developer, yeah.
Dumb.
It sucks because the game's original premise was, I think, Slasher Volume 1 something camp. I forgot. But it was supposed to be a complete homage to Friday the 13th. It's going to be that game just without the name and, the actual look.
Yeah.
So it was that exact same game. And then they got the fucking rights to Jason. And I almost feel like they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Just went with what they had before. It would have been the same game. So anyway, that's a whole other thing. I felt like it was worth mentioning that though. But yeah, I really like it. I think it's really fun when you're playing with the right people. One thing though I have to mention is there's a proximity chat in the game, which I think is a really cool feature that I think more games should have. I love most games where like there's a proximity that people can hear you getting louder as you get closer, especially in a survival setting, is always a really cool feature. And so that game, I think one of my favorite parts about the whole experience, the game's fine, it plays fine, I like it, but I really like the social aspect. Most people when they play a game are not in parties, they actually play in the game in voice chat, so you run into a lot of fucking memorable scenarios, a lot of stories you can tell from that game because of all the social interactions you have with all these different types of people who have all different types of ways they're trying to win, whether they're trying to go it alone, or they're trying to fuck people over, or they're actually trying to help you and you're trying to help them get out of there. There's always that kind of makes every match feel different. So it's pretty cool. I liked it.
So, I mean, once again, this game is mostly, it has cooperative elements to it, but its core is a competitive game. It also is horror themed, and those are both kind of things I'm just not super into.
Yeah, this game's not for you
at all. I mean, this is kind of just a complete repeat of Dead by Daylight, and I I have nothing like that I want to necessarily say that like, oh, this game sucks or whatever. I have things about it I don't like, but
I was kind of worried too, knowing that you had to play it this month because Dead by Daylight is horror themed, but it's essentially an arena game. It's fucking,
pardon me.
it's Splinter Cell, Mercs versus fucking Spies mode from Chaos Theory, except for it's horror themed. So it's still just like very grounded in its gameplay, whereas this is like borderline a fucking sandbox of like 20 minutes, figure it out.
Yeah.
But it does play on the horror a lot. There is a lot of tension in that game. When you get in a cabin and fucking Jason's like hacking the door down and you're trying to figure out how the fuck you're going to get out. If you're going to jump through the window and make a run for it. Is there a cabin nearby? Is there somebody that can fucking help you? There is tension that will build in those situations that I don't feel when I play Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, and I didn't play the council aspect. I watched you play a couple matches of that. I played a couple matches as Jason versus bots, so that you know where I'm coming from with this game as well. So, like Seth said earlier, the animations and the facial expressions are absolutely wonky, I'll say.
And the plasticky skin. Everyone's skin is like smooth and shiny.
Yeah, well, and with the whole bulging eye thing too is like reminds me of like a Total Recall.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. I mean, it's super jarring to look at, I guess is a good way to word that.
Every fucking match starts with the same little like fucking rockabilly dude getting killed by Jason. It's always that dude.
Right.
And it's always the little blonde Dutch boy who fucking turns in and he always goes and just like, ah! And it's like, why? Why is it always like no matter the fucking location, it's always that.
That was probably just easier to make that.
Yeah, that's not a good excuse.
Oh, well, I'm not saying
easier.
it's a good excuse.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's probably why.
Yeah.
That being said, it's the control wise pretty easy to pick up. It's all very laid out for you. You can glance down real quick if you forget what button does what, and they have a very small indicator of what they are. The only thing, like kind of like you said with the sandbox aspect, is you kind of have to fumble around at first, just kind of figure out what everything does.
Yeah.
Like when I was playing Jason, I was like, I don't know why my map has a cooldown. I can just open it whenever I want, and then you had told me that you could use it to teleport around the map, and I was like, oh, okay, that's where the cooldown comes in. And so, and it's stuff like that. You kind of you have to remember and kind of play around with the Jason. And I at first hearing about this game, hearing that you could teleport and like zip invisibly essentially across for a little while and stuff like that, I thought it sounded really cheesy, but in the gameplay of it, it kind of fits the I hate to say it's not serious, but it almost feels not serious style of like gameplay, even though
I mean it's comes from campy horror movies.
Yeah,
and I don't mean that. I don't mean that fucking camp like going to camp, but fucking camp.
Right. You could tell I don't do horror stuff very much because I'm having a hard time with the words for this. Well,
it's late too. We're both tired. So.
Yeah. Though, some things I kind of I do want to bring up is I kind of like the idea that it's 8-player instead of 5-player like Dead by Daylight is. And I do appreciate that, even though Jason is a complete beast and can just come up to you, grab you, and kill you if you're not prepared, you can fight back. Which
is a huge differential between Dead by Daylight and this. Is Dead by Daylight is all about stealthing and getting away, whereas this, you can do that. And I typically prefer stealth in games, but in this game, I actually like to beat the fuck out of Jason. It's a pretty viable thing. If you dodge his swing and hit him, you can knock him out and run. You can't keep doing that forever. He'll kill you eventually. But in those moments where you need to get away, it's awesome that you can have that option to do that. Plus, there are perks you buy with the in-game points CP that are randomly generated every time you purchase for 500 CP, and they will give you stats like increased damage or increased
one up,
stun.
One down. Yeah. Which is a neat system too. It kind of adds an element of like a card game almost to it.
Yeah, progression and getting better.
Yeah, and then. Good Lord, what's going on with my throat? I also appreciate that when you are Jason and you do get stunned, the camera kind of like locks on your face, so it does give the person a chance to run away.
Yep.
And even and
So frustrating
and
when you're Jason.
yeah, but I also feel like that they did this part intentionally as well, because there was one time where I got stunned and the camera was locked on me, but the person was running so I could watch them, but then as soon as I was unstunned, the camera also flipped somewhere else real quick, and I was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Dead by Daylight does that as well too. When you grab somebody and they get loose, it'll knock your camera out of the way, which is kind of cool because it gives them a chance to get the fuck away from you. So
yeah, and those little subtle things, those are nice touches, because otherwise, as powerful as Jason is, those little annoyances give the counselors a chance, which is really important.
Yeah.
I also kind of appreciate it does have the survival game elements, like repairing the car and being able to like build it or the boat or whatever, and then escape by that.
although pro tip, if somebody gets in that car and starts taking off, get away from it because people will hit you and kill you. People are so desperate to get the fuck off that map that they'll just drive through everybody.
Well, I think that also speaks to the same mentality you got to be careful of in most survival games, anyways. That people
Not that bad. People are
People
bad
are
about it
crazy.
in this.
so.
People are way bad, worse in this than fucking other games.
But anyway, I don't. I guess it'd be quicker for me to just kind of pick things I don't like about it. So I don't like. It is a very stiff feeling game, and I really just kind of don't like that. I also think the maps are freaking huge. Even though it's 8-player, I feel like you can, as Jason at least, without that, if that teleport didn't exist, especially, you would just be wandering forever. Sometimes I feel like so. So it's probably a good thing it has a 20-minute time limit. Because I could see situations where that would be rough.
I do agree that the maps are big. I think they need to be big though, and that's coming from me playing it as much as I have. Just because you need to be able to get distance between you and Jason, because if you were in tighter quarters with him or you had less area to run from him, he would kill you easier. You need to be able to be completely on that side of the map while he's on that side of the lake killing people, because it gives you time to get your shit together over here. And if he's over here now, if you're working with people and they're on that side of the lake looking for keys and shit, it really creates that dynamic that Jason needs to be on his shit and moving around the map.
Yeah.
Because if he stays on somebody for too long and chases them throughout the woods and they're really good at fucking jumping through windows and shit, he's wasting time while a team that knows what the fuck they're doing has already got like 2 cars fucking up and running on the other side of the lake. So you are right. Like, of course, that's your opinion. So, but I would agree 100%. Maps are fucking big. I think it's very much intended, and I think it works.
Yeah.
The longer you play it.
And that could very well be. Honestly, I don't have the time in the game to have a very, like, I couldn't debate you, argue you about it.
Yeah.
So from my small experience, I just felt like they're really big. I also, like I said, I was playing bots, and they don't move around as much as people do. So
Yeah,
once
they're also
them,
dumb.
yeah.
Their tactics are bad. I was watching. I was like, "Fuck, you're not good at this, computer."
Yeah. So once you find them, they're usually in clusters of like 2 to 4 of them, and they just stay in the same area the whole time while you're chasing them around the house. So
Yeah. Although one thing you said earlier, you were saying that you like that there's like 7 as opposed to like what 4, which I agree, because there's something really cool about in the beginning of a match, if you start off and you find each other. I've had a couple matches where like all of us found each other. It's like all 7 of us. And we're also like running around like the same buildings looking for shit all together. And then Jason would just show up and there's just 7 people all fucking just like running around, and people are fucking hitting him and shit.
Right.
And people are running around, and like it's just crazy to see like that many people just like ants fucking all over Jason. And then like towards the end of the match, if you survive, like there's like 3 of you now. You get that sense of like horror movies where like, fuck, there was like 10 of us and now there's only 2 of us left. Like, what are we going to do? And it's a really cool, if you get a really good match going, it's a really cool progression of like, fuck, people are getting knocked off. Or you have that match I just had a second ago where everybody got killed fucking almost instantly.
So that's like my biggest experience I've seen with the game was that match you just had.
Well, the last one I just had, fucking Jason wasn't there. Whoever was playing Jason broke 2 windows. I found evidence of him twice. There's 2 windows in the same building that were broken.
And
He had to have done that.
vanished.
And never saw him. And I don't think anybody else ever saw him because he had 0 kills. So Jason was just staying in the woods somewhere. But during that time, everybody on the map just knew he wasn't there for some reason. I was the only one who didn't get it, because I'm around like, where is he? And everybody else is just kind of trotting around together and fucking hitting each other. getting in cars and driving around, parking it right at the fucking end where you're about to drive out of the map and win. Just park it and stop. Guy gets out, he's dressed up like Double the Fuck Dragon, and then he's just staring at me through the window, and then someone from the passenger seat runs around, gets in, we just drive the fuck out of there. And then that guy and one other fucking brawling ass piece of shit just sat there and fought for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
They're just out in the dark just fucking swinging at each other with their machetes, like jumping back and shit.
I cannot.
That's so long
How
to do
did
that.
you not get bored?
I was bored watching. I was like, what the fuck, dude? And then towards the end, the guy was like crawling through fucking broken glass and fucking doing this dance thing. While the other guy's just sitting there staring at him from a fucking hole in the closet. Anyway, that's the whole thing.
My last thing I want to say in impressions, my impressions of the game is that I appreciate the small mechanics in the game. It is very reminiscent of, I guess like Japanese games where like they're really good about like hiding like little mysteries for you to figure out stuff. And I guess a good example of that is like the radio, where you can call for help and then Tommy shows up, and then you kind of have like this person who gets a second chance, but they're not really there to survive. They're there to make everyone else survive.
Yeah, for anybody who fucking plays this game, if you come back as Tommy, if you're granted that privilege, come back and you need to fucking help people. That's how, first off, it's just courteous for you to do that. You already died. You had your fucking chance. We're still alive. Help us. Secondly, you're not going to get any fucking experience if you get in a car and leave. Because first off, you're a pussy if you do that. I've done it a couple times just because being a dick. But fucking people will literally come back as Tommy, get in a car, and just escape. And you only get 25 experience for your escort of somebody from that. He comes back to help people. So if you help people, you'll rack up more experience.
Yeah. And then and then speaking of him, you've explained to me that he's a part of a series of events that needs to happen in order to actually kill Jason, which is neat. Yep. That's even a thing in the game. And I imagine if when someone has ever succeeded in that, I'm sure there's this great feeling of like, holy shit, I cracked the code, you know. So I love stuff like that in games in general.
I've only seen Jason get killed once in my time playing, and I was Jason, so it was awful. There's 4 of them, and they're all very aggressive. They all had machetes, and we're just in the rain fucking swinging at each other. And they're fucking hitting me, I'm hitting them. I killed one of them, but after a while, they had overpowered me. To kill Jason, you have to have Tommy Jarvis. He has to come back. I think you have to have Jason's mom's sweater, and you have to have a machete. And so we were all fighting and shit, and like they had broke my mask off, which he's ugly as fuck under there. And then eventually I like fell onto my knees, and the whole time his mom's in his head going like, Jason, you can't die, get up, blah, 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 blah. I was like, what the fuck's happening? And someone like walked up and just slammed a machete into my head and killed me. I was like, what? So those guys are probably stoked they even fucking nailed it. Those guys are probably like really fucking like, we're gonna fucking kill Jason, and they did it because they obviously had all the items and shit. So
right.
But
yeah, no, that kind of stuff's neat. But I mean that's generally my impressions. There's a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of like weird stuff, but to emphasize as well, that really isn't my kind of game. So
yeah, last thing I want to put in there too is regardless of the quality of the game and the technical work on it, you can tell that the people who worked on it are really big fans of Friday the 13th. It's very authentic. As a person who likes Friday the 13th, the series, the movies, regardless of when things are so ridiculous looking, I'm laughing. That they have all the different versions of Jason from throughout all the fucking movies. That they have counselors from the movies. That Tommy is a recurring character in 3 of the movies. That he's in it is cool, and that he's a gameplay mechanic is cool. Being able to explore Camp Crystal Lake and stuff like that is really fucking neat, and it all looks the part. I mean, it is an eerie experience when you're walking around the woods, and the music design is like from like that 80s synth horror sound. It's really like, maybe it's because I grew up fucking watching shit like that, but like it creeps me out. Walk around just like that real subtle, just fucking just single note just fucking playing, and then hearing that just in the woods. It's a really cool touch. So they definitely nailed like I said, outside of the stiff movements and crazy faces, the look and feel of it. So I think they did a really good job in that aspect, and they definitely cared.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get into recommendations. Unless you have anything else to say.
No.
If you like horror games, I would say play this game. If you like multiplayer horror games, as many as there are, Dead by Daylight. If you liked Evolve, the whole like 4v1 type games, play this game. If you like survival games, I think there is stuff here to like about it. It's not necessarily a survival game like DayZ or whatever, but it does have elements of that in it. And I think that's one of the reasons I like it. I like trying to find things and getting well equipped for situations. So, and that the game's full of that. Let's see what else. Yeah, do you get recommendations? I mean, it's a very niche game. You're either going to be like the last game. You're either going to be into this or you're not. I feel like it's a broader demographic though, of people who will stay with this game.
I would say I think you're gonna have an easier time getting people to play this one than the prior game, and I think a large part of that is also because it fits into the category same as like you said, Evolve, Dead by Daylight. However, I think this game is easier to pick up and play than Dead by Daylight, and I think that is mixed between the controls being really simple, but also the fact that it does not have that huge stealth emphasis, that it is more.
Well, Dead by Daylight is set up as a competitive game because it has a ranking system.
Yes.
So the more you play it, it'll start putting against people who are your rank, and so you're gonna always be challenged at some point once you get your rank figured out. Whereas this, you can pop in and fucking get murdered by Jason and probably still have a fun time with it.
Damn it. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think both games are really easy to watch for different reasons. Like I enjoy watching Dead by Daylight because it is like watching a competitive game. As for I think watching the Jason this Friday the 13th game, blah 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 blah, is just more of like entertainment, I guess is a good way to put it. It does have that competitive part in there, but it is definitely like the scenarios that can happen and stuff like that. Like watching those two idiots sit there and swing each other for 10 minutes. Like that is stupid. That should have never
Dressed
happened.
in their stupid little karate gis.
Right. If that was Dead by Daylight, there's no fucking way that would have existed. Like, so you get stuff like that out of this game, and I think it's really neat. As far as other recommendations though, I mean, unless you're just looking for a game that both does competitive and co-op in the same spectrum of gameplay, that's there for you. So
yeah, and if you're not into that's why I say this is for specific people, even though I think it has a wider demographic of people, because a lot of people like horror movies and a lot of people like Jason, a lot of people like gore and stuff like that, and like seeing those like crazy authentic kills the game has. So they're gonna find enjoyment in that. But if you're not into horror, you're probably not gonna want to play this game. If you're not into survival online games or 4v1 type games, you're probably not going to want to play this game. I mean, it is a very specific demographic it's after. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. There's a lot of people I don't think would want to play this as well.
Yeah.
So, but if you are going to play it, I would recommend getting past all the little things in the beginning where you're like, this game looks like shit, plays like shit, because there is a good game underneath that. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much all the recommendations I have.
Yeah,
it's hard because it is what it is. It's part of that genre, and that's who's going to want to play it.
Another small genre.
Yep,
like the last game.
Yeah, both games are kind of similar in some ways. It's kind of interesting. Let's grade it. I'll let you grade first.
I'm gonna have to give it a C+ because for me, it just doesn't scratch any itches. I do think it is a good game, though it is definitely not what I would call a well-made game, though the ideas in there are really great and they are implemented. So I can't knock them for that. I also, for how I just came off and said that it plays kind of weird and is I guess janky. It also isn't buggy though, so I have to give her credit for that as well. Because
I haven't seen a whole lot of bugs in the game, honestly.
So it's by design is a little awkward.
I just think some of the movement could be done better because it does feel like you're kind of like on a little axis that you're. I don't know.
Well, and
it's very
even
stiff
like
feeling.
opening doors, you have to like look pretty dead on to like where the button press is
Yeah.
at, and your distance has to be just right and stuff like that. So I mean, there's not a lot of give in some spots, and that's just mostly just like polish. It's missing a polish.
It's missing polish 100%.
Yeah. So, and I don't like I said, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just very noticeable when you play the game.
I mean, anybody who sits around and plays like early access games or indie games will be ready for that. So
For sure, 100%.
if you're on Steam or whatever, you're probably already playing games that lack polish. So
Right. And then so like the last game, I think a C is a good place to put a game that you think is not good, not great, not awful. I did give it a C plus though because there is elements of enjoyment I did find. So
yeah. I'm gonna give it a fucking. I'm teeter-tottering between two things. I'm gonna go with a B minus. I was gonna go with a B, but the game is exactly what it is, and so when I'm feeling like playing it, I'll play it, and I enjoy myself. But it's dependent on who I'm playing it with, who's in that room, if it's people I know, if it's a good group of people, if it's a bad group of people. Are the bad group of people fucking actually like, are they funny bad, or are they like shitty bad, or are they fucking me over? There's so many different variables there that go into the enjoyment of the game. And it's a game I would play later. I actually plan on playing it later, but like more like if I got some friends who are like, oh, you want to play Jason like Friday 13th? I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. But it's not something I'm going to get everyone, together to play it, or plan for that really. But I mean, I like it. When I like it, I love it. Like when it's like good, it's great. But when it's mediocre per match. So that's why I can't go too high on it. I think B minus is fair. And I went with the minus just because mostly the technical stuff. It could be a lot better in some ways. But what they have there is awesome. And like I said, when I really am enjoying myself in a match and it's a really good match, I would probably go up to like a B plus to an A minus. I really enjoy the experience. But other times I'm just like, this game was not made by a whole lot of people with a big budget.
right.
And it shows, and that's fine. And I kind of wish they could update the game, but I've already explained that. So
Yeah. And I'm actually I think I'm pretty sure that I graded Dead by Daylight a little higher when we did that one.
I'm pretty sure I did too. I love Dead by Daylight.
And I think the reason is it is a more polished game, and I actually
When everything makes sense in that, like everything you can do in that game is a counter or has a counter to it.
well, and even as a spectator, it's still a stressful experience.
Yeah.
So it has that tension that's good to watch as well as play, I think. So just to compare the two, really.
Yep.
I think Friday the 13th is missing that.
Fuck, I can watch it. It's ridiculous.
I can watch it, but it doesn't have that tension that I'm sure it can, but it's not.
That's what I was emphasizing.
consistent.
When it is good, it's great. But if you're in a match with a bunch of people who are like brand new or not very good
fighting
or
each other
just
for 10
acting
minutes
like
in front of the
idiots,
exit.
yeah, it's a game where like once you're dead, you gotta wait for the match to end to get everything. So, if you're watching people who are just like doing stupid shit, it can kind of feel like fucking like almost annoying. And then also like you'll play with people sometimes. I've seen it happen like twice, where somebody on your team is working with Jason. And that's also really frustrating because it's like a waste of a fucking match.
Yeah.
Because that person's not going to get killed. Jason's not going to kill him. And they're just going to fucking rat everybody out. And that kind of destroys the whole fucking thing. So stuff like that, which I don't know how you could fix that. I don't necessarily think you need to fix it because it doesn't happen that often. And it's a story to tell, so it's whatever. Is, another reason why I give it a B minus. So anything else?
Nope.
Let us know in the comments. Did you play Friday the 13th, the game? Do you want to play it? Do you not want to play it? What'd you think of it? Do you love it? Do you fucking hate it? Are you a fan of the Friday the 13th franchise? And yeah, let me know everything. Grade those games too. Let me know in the comments what you thought of them. But that's going to do it for this episode of Plus Club. for October. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook at Tasty Loot Gaming. Check me out on Twitch at Tasty Senpai, all one word. Hit the notification button to know when I go live. And we got Discord, link down below. Talk to us anytime, all the time. And we're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you would prefer to listen to us. And if you're listening to us and you want to watch us, check us out on YouTube at Tasty Loot Gaming. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And until the next episode, which will either be tomorrow or Friday for Game of the Month, we'll be talking about Secret World Legends. Make sure to play that. Or if you've played in the past, come back anyway. We're going to talk about it. Free to play, so you got nothing to lose. Till then, have a good night, guys, and take it easy.